One thing I think that cinema does better than any other art form is music. A great score doesn't just support a scene, it reshapes how you feel about it. And it can turn something ordinary into something overwhelming. And sometimes the music becomes bigger than the film itself. These are some pieces of film music that permanently ended up in my life outside the movies. Hi guys, and welcome back to Almost a Cinephile. My name is Becca. If you are new here, we love to talk about all things film related, and we sprinkle some physical media in there as well for you. So if that sounds like something that you are in love with right now, then please come and join us. We welcome everybody. I will just make a really quick disclaimer. I have a cold, I sound nasally, and I don't want to talk about it. So I realised recently whilst playing my little Spotify playlist, when my son brought up certain pieces of music that he was listening to in the car with us, that a lot of what I listen to stems from a film. And when I started to think about it, I realised that certain pieces of movie music have actually stayed with me for quite a long time. So I thought it would be a really fun idea to actually show you my actual Spotify. I'm not obviously going to go into every single song because not all songs on my playlist are derived from a film, but I just wanted to kind of pick out a few that I've really been loving at the minute and things that have been on there for a really long time. And I just wanted to speak all things movie score related. So before we get into that, I really just wanted to emphasize how much music in a film really means to me. I know that people take quite a lot out of films, and you know, whether it be costume design, set design, atmosphere, tones, cinematography, directing, voice acting, animation, whatever you take from a film is yours to hold personally. And for me, for a really long time, it has always been the score. It has always been the music. There's something about a score in a film that can really change the atmosphere or the emotion in such a dramatic way that really makes you sit and with the film, sit and think about that film. And actually I found that most scores really do last forever and have haunted my Spotify playlist for years. I wouldn't say I'm a massive music fan. I don't uncover a lot of kind of unknown or indie artists. I listen to what I love and I adore what I love. But what I've realised of recent about my playlist is actually that whilst it's not particularly a very music forward playlist, it's definitely a very film forward playlist. And hence why I really wanted to sit down and make this video, because I really wanted to take something from film and explore it even further. So some music that I have been absolutely loving recently, that I've only just recently added, even though I saw this film last year. I'm going to be honest, I think I saw the music on a reel and I didn't realise it was from that film, and then I deep dived massively into the music. And I know this film is very popular and heavily influenced by music, so the fact that I didn't add it until just recently is devastating. Nonetheless, I have really been enjoying this album. So I will talk about 3 things from the album that I absolutely adore, and this is from the film Sinners. 3 songs that I have been just putting on repeat over and over again is Seance, which is the song that actually got me back into the music of Sinners. Seance is just gorgeous. It is just a song from the heart with a bit of a country edge. Obviously I can't play any music on this video, otherwise it'll get taken down or copyrighted or whatever they do nowadays. But Seance, I implore you to listen to it. Even if you don't like horror films or you've not watched Sinners, I think Seance hits hard despite everything. Another song, which is obviously the biggest song out of the film, which is I Lied to You. This song is just music encaptured. It features every single genre and style of music within this one song. You've got the drums, you've got electric guitar, you've got like hip hop going on in the background. Obviously, if you've seen the film, you can see all of the different cultures and eras of music throughout this scene in the movie, but it really is just gorgeous. And I love love the voice of Miles Caton. It is just gorgeous. It is gravelly, deep South American country gorgeousness. But I love when that beat drops in the middle of this song and you just hear every single genre of music that ever existed. And another one that is one of my favourites, or coming up to be one of my favourites from this album, is Rocky Road to Dublin. This, I believe, was sung by Jack O'Connell, and it's just a real Irish wonder to behold. It just really gets you in the mood to learn Irish dancing and be part of this kind of vampire clan. It's just beautiful. He actually has a gorgeous voice, which is not a surprise because the guy is fantastic at voices, but it's just one of those really feel good, but also there's an undercurrent of darkness throughout this song that just encaptures you, and I love it. So no score or movie music would be complete without mentioning K-pop Demon Hunters, obviously. I think every parent got roped into this movie by their children, and I was the same, where, you know, you see those reels where they're like, oh, I'm not interested, and then they watch it again and they're like, I know a few words, this is quite good actually. And then you're like full on like golden. But these songs do really slap. I have got pretty much all of them on my playlist. I have Soda Pop, Golden, Your Idol, Free, and What It Sounds Like. Free is my favourite, just vocally and emotionally. That's the one I like the most. My kids love Soda Pop with the whole, you know, shoulder thing. I think there should be something embraced about this film. It is really fun, really, I think it really brings in that anime influence. I've definitely got back into my anime, I would say, from this film. And just the music is just feel good and fun and catchy and powerful, and there's nothing I don't like about these songs. I totally get that this is a much more childish avenue, but who cares, you know, like sometimes you gotta enjoy a K-pop song, and I did. So I couldn't talk about movie scores without talking about the absolute god, the GOAT, Hans Zimmer, my love, my heart. I am a huge Hans Zimmer fan. I love everything that man puts on the screen, and what got me into Hans Zimmer was the current movie duology, soon to be a trilogy, Dune. I love Dune. Dune is just, I almost love it as much as Star Wars, and I know there's gonna be a lot of you coming for me, but hear me out. I just love Dune. Okay, I can't, I'm sorry. And what makes me love Dune more than anything else, and probably more than Star Wars, despite I know Star Wars has an absolutely iconic score, but Hans Zimmer really brought Dune and Arrakis and the world building to life. He breathed air into this planet and this story, and it just turned it into something so much bigger than even I thought it was going to be. A Time of Quiet Between the Storms is my favourite from Dune 2. It is just gorgeous. I wouldn't even be able to tell you what instrument was playing in this song. I know the guy creates and makes his own instruments to be able to sound exactly how he wants to sound. But there's this gorgeous jazzy little horn that kind of goes on in this piece of music, and it just weighs so heavily. And then the dramatics get heavier and heavier and heavier until it is a full-blown like boof in the face. I also love the music when they are fighting on Gadi Prime. God, I've not watched these films in ages, but I'm pretty sure that is where the Harkonnens are, and where it's all black and white because they're playing with the sun and the light. Just such a juicy scene. But the songs in those that show kind of how dangerous this kind of culture of people are is just so, it's delicious. It's just nourishing, and you can feel everything about this world through his music in this film. Other movies I have absolutely eaten up because of his scores is obviously Interstellar. Like, we cannot talk about the guy without talking about Interstellar, the main theme. This is, you know, the song. If you haven't seen Interstellar, you still would have known this song. This is the piano one where it's like dun 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 dun, and it goes on, and then it builds and it builds and it builds, and it's just gorgeous. I cry when I hear this song, because it just brings down the weight of this whole film about, you know, leaving your kids behind and discovering things. And just, I've seen Interstellar once, so bear with me, it's cloudy still. But from what I remember, it holds so much weight because of the emotion behind it, and that is just what the guy does so blooming well. Other films like Pirates of the Caribbean, the song where they are going to the edge of the world to find Jack Sparrow, and it's like do 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 do. Gorgeous. The man knows what he's doing, and I really want to see him, and I really want to go to one of his concerts where he just plays everything. It would be a dream. Hans Zimmer is just top of the list in terms of scores for me as a music fan in film. And then in terms of music and songs that are featured in films that just make me happy, I'm just gonna say these out loud. If I've got any kind of more interesting things I want to say about them, I will. But I'm gonna be like, you know, quick firing these at you. But obviously Sunflower by Post Malone, that was in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Fantastic song. One of the most eye-opening films when it comes to animation for me that I have seen in a really long time. Obviously Hero from the classic Spider-Man. This is featured at the end of the film. What can I say? It's Nickelback. Like, dude, it's so good, so good. You've also got The Greatest Showman, obviously one of the best musicals of our generation that has come out with some of the most incredible songs. Rewrite the Stars, Never Enough, This Is Me, Tightrope, The Other Side, A Million Dreams. I could go on. Much repeated in our household, as is obviously the music from Wicked 1. I haven't really looked much into Wicked 2. I did see it at the start of this year, or the end of last year, sorry. But Wicked 1, Defying Gravity is always playing and popular. Great songs. I really like the film. I have all the songs from Bo Burnham's Inside. I don't know what to call this, whether this was an actual film or kind of like a documented style film. It has its own genre, I think, but I have every song that Bo Burnham wrote for Inside. I have not seen it since COVID, but those songs have just lasted for 6 years now on my playlist. I literally have all of them. I have comedy, I have shit, I have 30, I have FaceTime with my mum, I have White Women's Instagram, I have All Eyes on Me, I have That Funny Feeling, That's the Way the World Works, a fantastic comedian, and just everything about that docu film, whatever you want to call it, just really spoke to me and still does, hence why I still listen to them. Every song that's on the movie Chef, this film stars Jon Favreau. My husband is a chef. We love watching films about food and cooking and chefs, and we absolutely adored this. These songs were in our wedding playlist. They were so good. They meant so much to us. And Sexual Healing by the Hot Brass Band, or the Hot 8 Brass Band, sorry, is one of our absolute favourites. We put a few in on our wedding day, and I still listen to them even now on my lovely Spotify. It's just such an uplifting and fun film, and it just really gets you in the mood to cook and eat, and it's just soulful and so good. Some Disney music coming in at you. Yes, I know you can switch off now if you absolutely do not like Disney music, but I have an appreciation for songs that really make me feel a lot during films. Touch the Sky by Julie Fowlis is in Brave. That is a gorgeous song. I love that song. The Family Madrigal in Encanto is a great song. All the songs from Frozen 2 are just the absolute peak of Disney music. And then Lava, which is also a song we had in our wedding. It is actually a Disney short. I think it was a part of Inside Out, I want to say. And there was just something about it. It's just stunning. If you haven't seen the short Lava, or if you haven't heard the song, I would implore you to listen to it, because it is a really sweet piece of music. Songs from Call Me By Your Name are a staple on my playlist. Visions of Gideon and Mystery of Love, both I think by Sufjan Stevens. Just heartbreaking. And Visions of Gideon at the end of Call Me By Your Name is just such a swollen and sad and just devastating moment that it's just a song that means so much. Call Me By Your Name is one of my favourite films ever made, and I just love the music in this film. Sweet Child of Mine, featured in Captain Fantastic, sung by the girls themselves, or the actors themselves. Right at the end, where you get that such satisfying moment when the family all come back together again to celebrate their mum. If you have not seen Captain Fantastic, where have you been? This, again, top 10 film of all time. The most feel-good and heartwarming story. I love everything about this film. It is just gorgeous. I've shown my kids this film now, and they really love it, and it's just, Sweet Child of Mine means so much when you hear it in the way that they do it at the end of this movie. We've also got a cheeky little mention of George Michael's father figure, obviously in Baby Girl. Like, what a comeback of a song, huh? Like, that brought it all back. That is just, I mean, I am a George Michael fan, but I actually have never heard of Father Figure until this film. And there's just something about it, you know, you just want to groove with the actor Harris Dickinson as he's like with the brandy or the whiskey or whatever he's got there in the room, and he's just like, yeah. Gorgeous, great song, really brought that back to me, and it is now a staple on my playlist. Then I've also got a couple of songs from, I think it's quite a decent franchise. I know this is very subjective and I am on the absolute minority of this, but I have got I See You and Dreamers One, both from Avatar movies. I See You was Leona Lewis's song, I think, for the first movie, and Dreamers One is the recent Fire and Ash song done by Miley Cyrus. I really like them. Again, they've been on there for ages. You know, they give me the feels. They bring the weight of the world onto you, and they are heavy and full of just world building beautifulness. And I really like them. I know they're kind of poppy songs and not necessarily a score, but very good. And then the last one I have is I See Fire. This is by Ed Sheeran and was featured in The Hobbit. Again, a franchise that not many people like. I, as of recent, appreciate Lord of the Rings, and I like The Hobbit. I don't love The Hobbit, but I See Fire is just beautiful. I love kind of those songs that are at the end or at the close of a film when the credits roll, because they just kind of like, whilst you're sitting there like all frazzled after what you've watched, depending on how you feel about it, it just lets you sit in it for ages. You're kind of, I always sit there in the cinema, I don't know if this is just me or if anybody else does this, but I usually sit and kind of really like, processing and thinking things through. But that song really helps me to kind of compartmentalize thoughts and feelings and how I took it as a piece of movie work. But those are the majority of the songs that are on my Spotify. I am always constantly adding scores and pieces of music and songs that are part of film. I'm sure there's many more that I could talk about, but that's the score. That is the score. That is the music I absolutely love from films, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any music or pieces of music or scores that you love from film, then please let me know and I can check them out and we can chit chat about that in the comments. But as for now, that's it.